Hi, my name's Trystan, and this is my buddy Coop. We got introduced recently and found out we actually have a lot in common. We both love cooking, we both have cooking shows here on YouTube, and, well, we're both a little bit embarrassed. Because we like Star Trek. But that's why we're here today, because we're embracing our embarrassment by dedicating this episode to the exo-cooks and to our friends of the show everywhere. Bibimbap, or mixed rice, is one of the most quintessential Korean dishes, and while I've made this about 1,001 times, this will be Coop's first attempt, using what he has on hand. We're both starting with a short grain rice that we're just rinsing in cold water and seasoning. Coop is using hot water and covering his from the start, whereas I'm using cold and starting uncovered, but both methods work just fine. One of my must-have toppings is soy pickled shiitakes. I'm simmering these dried ones in water until they're tender and juicy, then removing their stems and slicing them nice and thin. Reserve the liquid, then using the same pot add light soy sauce, which is much saltier than standard, rice vinegar, and sugar. I'm also adding a few slices of ginger for aromatics. Bring to a simmer until it reduces by about a quarter, then pour over the sliced shiitakes along with equal parts of the mushroom liquid. Coop's decided to go with some thinly sliced pork shoulder that he's adding to a bowl along with soy sauce, mirin, and salt, then giving it a thorough mix before letting it chill out in the fridge. Speaking of his fridge, let's see what he's got to work with. He's chopping some green onions into 2-inch batons, as well as peeling, chopping, and slicing some carrots into 2-inch pieces. These are both very common in bibimbap. While not a traditional ingredient, these thinly sliced Brussels sprouts will work really well here, as cabbage is definitely an important ingredient in Korean cuisine. After removing the diffuser plate on his gas stove to get some serious flame action, Coop is heating his wok on high with a bit of canola oil that he's working in with some paper towel to season the surface. Once he just starts seeing wisps of smoke, he's adding a bit more canola oil and lightly stir-frying the Brussels sprouts, green onions, and carrots. I'm also using some carrot that I'm peeling, slicing, creepily staring at you while eating, and then julienning nice and thin. I'm doing the same with some daikon radish. I want the bowl to have some texture and crunch, so I'm leaving both raw. I've also got some bean sprouts, which are widely popular in bibimbap. I'm just blanching them in boiling water for about 30 seconds before rinsing them in cold water. I'm keeping the seasoning for them really simple, with just some soy sauce, sesame oil, and gochugaru, hot pepper flakes. Because pickles are life, I'm slicing a cucumber and hitting it with some salt and sugar, then mixing and allowing it to sit for about 20 minutes or until it's given off a bunch of water, then just topping it off with some rice vinegar. For proteins, I decided to go in a kind of certain turf direction, so I have a piece of ahi tuna that I'm slicing into 1 centimeter cubes. In a small pan, I'm combining soy sauce, mirin, and sake, then reducing it by half over medium heat to make a glaze, thoroughly coating the tuna once it's been completely cooled. For the turf, I went with ground beef that I seasoned with soy sauce, garlic, salt, and pepper, then drizzled some canola oil in a cast iron pan over medium-high heat. Adding the beef to the pan and using the back of a spoon, I'm breaking it up until it's cooked through and just starting to crisp. Coop's thinly slicing some garlic, like a pro I might add, then adding it to his wok with some canola oil and his marinated pork shoulder. Because the pork is sliced nice and thin, it'll only take a few minutes to cook, just enough time to warn the dead in Stovokor that a warrior is about to arrive. Sauce time. Coop is keeping his simple with gochujang, mirin, and sesame oil. I'm going with gochujang, sesame oil, sugar, rice vinegar, rice syrup, and some lime soda. Last but certainly not least, we're both topping our bibimbaps with a fried egg, because any bibimbap without a fried egg is, well, it is a war crime! Now I gotta say, Coop, that looks delicious, bud, and that crispy egg is the stuff of my dreams. Busting out my fanciest bowl, I'm spooning the rice in the center, topping with the egg, and surrounding it with everything else. All that's left is that signature spicy red gochujang sauce. And that's it. Bibimbap. Watching Coop break open that perfectly gooey egg yolk got me so distracted I almost forgot my favorite ingredient: homemade kimchi. But we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Well, bud, this was a ton of fun, albeit a little bit embarrassing. And it was interesting to see two different styles of bibimbap come together so wonderfully. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome.
What the hell is happening?
The barriers between quantum realities are breaking down. Other realities are emerging into our own.